Hey, this is Chris for jamplay.com, and we're here with lesson 2 on chords, capos, and simple melodies. And in the last lesson, we took a look at the keys of C, A, G, E, and D, and we went through common and somewhat uncommon ways to play each one of the chords in those keys. Today we're going to look at taking those positions and moving them around the neck with a capo, and then combining them with the basic key. And you can hear this done and demonstrated in a band situation with the tracks that are in the supplemental content for each one of these lessons. And in the last 4 lessons of this series, we're going to be teaching those tracks and giving you an opportunity to jam over those and learn some of the things that are done in those tracks. But we're going to be doing the capo thing with just one guitar today. And I'm just going to show you some good positions and some tricks so that you know which key you're playing in when you're using the capo. So we're starting, let's go ahead and start with the key of G. With all of these, the easiest way to find what key you're playing in when you're using a capo is to know where the root notes are for each one of the positions. For example, in the key of G, my root is going to be played with my second finger if I'm playing a regular G. And if we number out the chords that we worked on last time, G being 1, A minor being 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then our 5 with the 7th and the bass, and then our 1. If we do that, we can assign numbers as we move them up and down the neck and then play in different keys. So we know that when I'm playing a G chord, my root is going to be played with my second finger, and there are 3 frets. Here's my open, and then there are 3 frets. If I do this, for example, put the capo on the 5th fret, now this is really my nut or my open strings, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 frets up. I'm going to play a G form chord. This note determines which key I'm going to be playing in, which key I'm going to be playing in. Even though I'm playing in G formation, I'm playing now, this is a C note. Now I can follow the numbers. C is 1. Even though I'm playing an A minor looking chord, it's a D minor because D minor in the key of C is the 2 chord. So 1, A minor, looks like A minor, but it's actually D minor, E minor, F, G, real A minor, looks like E minor, and then back to C. A lot of times if you've got 2 acoustic guitar players, or even 2 guitar players period, let's say you could play in the key of C, one guy could be here, and the next guy could put the capo on the 5th fret and do the same kind of thing. And it creates some really cool tensions and interesting things happening. So, and like I said before, when you've got these different positions going on, there's going to be different things that you do because of the chord positions, right? So, you might be doing and doing some kind of melodic things there with the notes on C, but you're going to be doing things different over the G form C just because it feels different. Maybe you're doing this kind of thing. At the same time, the other guy is doing this. So he's moving a different register, really, of notes than the guy playing down here, and that's what gives it the interest. And you'll notice with the tracks later that the type of strumming that you do can even be different. You know, someone can be really strumming, the other person can be picking out some more single notes, someone can push the beat a little bit more, someone can lay back a little bit, and that just creates that really nice interest on either side. So in terms of kind of what's common, a lot of people, if the song's in the key of C, will leave one guy to play C here, and then they'll capo on the 5th fret and play C, G formation. So that's how you determine where you're playing if you're using the G formation stuff. You've got your note that you're playing with your 2nd finger, and it's 3 frets up from the open or capoed fret. That's a pretty easy way to determine it. There are other ways to do it in terms of learning your roots all over your neck, which you should do, but this is a good, quick, and easy way to do it. Just look at your 1 chord, look at the note you're playing in the bass, and then move around accordingly. So for D, my lowest note is on my D string here, and it is an open string. So we have to look at the D chord and moving it around. Well, I've got a fret over here. If this is going to, if my nut's here, I've got a fret and then another one. The chord's going to be basically 2 frets. It's going to start 2 frets up from where my open string is. So if I want to bar in the key of D, let's say we're going to play in the key of E, I just make sure that what was once a D right here is now an E. And now, even though I'm playing in D formation, I should be able to name all of the chords in terms of E, even though they look like D. This can be very difficult to do for a while because you're looking at a D chord and you're playing an E. But it's really helpful when you're reading charts to be able to transpose like that. So let's do that. We've got D. Oh, I just did it. We've got E. And then we've got the 2, which is an F sharp, which looks like an E. Then we've got the 3, which is a G sharp. So we could do our F sharp look, or we could bar. All right, next we've got a G formation chord, which is actually an A. Then I've got my A chord, which is actually a B. So as you can see, it's very difficult if you're having to constantly do different letters. That can be really difficult. Whereas if you start looking at it in terms of numbers, and check out the Nashville Number System article on the site if you haven't. That'll shed a lot of light on this whole number thing. But if you start thinking in terms of numbers when you're doing this capo thing, it's so much easier. Because, let's say you're talking to a guy in the group and you're on 2nd fret playing in D formation and he's up here playing another formation, and you say, well, land on the D. Well, a D could be the 1 or the 5 depending on what formation he's playing in. So if you just do numbers, it's much easier. So if we look at this in terms of just numbers, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6. That's really the way to do it. So we're playing in E. We could take D around a few more places. So this is my reference as I'm figuring out what key I'm going to play in. Let's say I want to play in D formation, but I want to play in the key of G. So we just need to find a G on my D string. Great sounding register for the D form. While you're other guy is playing. Really pretty cool. Okay, so now we've got A, the key of A. Our root, our lowest note and the root is on A. So this one's actually pretty easy. We just have to figure out what the notes are on our A string, which is pretty simple. So let's say we want to play in the key of D. Well, there's a D. Put the capo on. And then we're in the key of D. And then again, thinking in terms of numbers is very helpful because then you don't have that position discrepancy. But you could be doing something like this. We're in the key of D, using all those kind of fun things that we've done in the key of A, in A formation. Well, you've got another guitar player playing. Okay, and of course you can move those around however you want. Key of E. Really pretty easy. You've got your E chord, low E note, capo anywhere you want, and play. You know, we could go to A. While the other person is playing in open A, or maybe they're playing A but in G form. And you're playing in E formation. So this is all pretty obvious, but I want to open your eyes to the possibilities here, because so many times when you're sitting down jamming with another guitar player, you don't think about using a capo, or you don't think about the extent that you can use a capo. But blending these different positions is key to making your song sound different and fresh in terms of the rhythm section. All right, C. C's got a lot of advantages. Here's our root. I've already kind of gone over that a lot of people like to play it in G. People also like to play it in the key of A, or the form of A. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at, starting from C, all the different ways you can play a C chord all the way up the neck using a capo. And this gets into cage system stuff, which we're definitely touching on right now, but we're not getting into much of the theory behind it and chord chemistry as much as we are just identifying roots. But if you can get a hold of this pattern, it's going to be easy for you to see, oh, here's how my roots are falling along the neck. That means I could play in this position while you're playing in this position. It's just really, really helpful. So, and this of course can be transposed. So you know, if you're starting playing a C form based on the second fret, like this, and of course you're in D, you going up the neck, starting from the second fret as opposed to open, will be easy for you to do as well. So here's C. So I'm playing in C. If I go through all of my different chords, you know, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor. We'll stop at 6 for the purposes of these drills. Okay, now I'm going to do C, A form. And I'm going to capo on the 3rd fret. So C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A. Or numbered. But what I'm doing is I'm naming the actual chords all the way up so you can get an idea of how to relate all of these to the key of C. Okay? So the next one up, we're playing in A formation here. We're going to go to G formation, and we're going to move the capo up 2 more frets. So we've started with open, capo 3, then capo 5. We're going to go to G formation. C, D, E, F, G, A minor. Next is going to be E formation. So we're going to put the capo all the way up here on the 8th fret. These, if your guitar has good intonation, can sound really nice. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A, or A. And you can get an idea as I'm going all the way up here. If you had 4 guitar players and each playing in a different position, sounds really great. Okay, so we're in E. The next one is D. So this is going to be moving it up 2 more frets. Again, if your intonation is good, this works. Otherwise, you might say, well, I'm playing in the key of C, maybe D minor, or maybe D position isn't the greatest. But we've got C, D, E minor, F, G, and A minor. It's kind of hard to fret up there. Okay, so in the last lesson, we went through everything in open position, and this time we're taking it all in the key of C, using the capo, and showing you where to play. So remember what I said about it being transposable? That just simply means that if you put the 2 different things that we've talked about in this lesson together, you know how to play in any one of these keys in any position and can blend with other things. So in the next lesson, we're going to get into a bit of ear training, and we're gonna listen particularly for the roots, and then we're gonna take educated guesses based on the things we've learned about the chords in major keys. So stay tuned for that one.